Welcome to the Astral Weather Report. I'm Jeremy Eugene Wilson with the Light Army, and I come on here every 6 days to help you understand the current cosmic influences that affect your behavior, the way you think, the way you feel, the way you process and store energy, the way you exchange that energy with others. Ultimately, so that the current influence doesn't become an energy drain or an energy leak and be a liability to you, so that you can use it to your advantage, to grow, to make more money, to improve your relationships, and ultimately find meaning and purpose from it. All right, let's talk about the energy for August 17th through 22nd, 2025. The theme is the fire of commitment. We have the sun moving into gate 29, which is activating the energy of commitment, of perseverance. And then we have the earth activating gate 30, which is the fire of desire. It's all about internal drive and the fire of desire. It's just that. And ultimately, these two energies coming together, they create this powerful push to go all in, right? But the question is, are you committing to the right things? If you commit to everything, you can't fully put yourself and say that you are investing in everything with the best of you. So you have to decide what are the right things to invest yourself in. That's what the energy looks like this week. So the mental and emotional forecast, how you might feel. You might feel this urge to overcommit, to go all in, to say yes, before you've actually measured the resources, the time, and the energy required to those commitments. So there's a lot of passion, there's a lot of pressure, and it's like any decision we make emotionally, we don't always think of the timeline, the investments of money, the energy, the drive time, all of those other things that come into the mix. So there is a risk of overpromising this week and a desire, right? There's the fuel and the fire, but it can be volatile. You might feel this emotional pull to dive headfirst into projects, relationships, responsibilities, opportunities, but at the end of the day, there is this intensity in the air, right? A strong desire, but it can also swing into disappointment if commitments aren't aligned, if you don't have the energy to fulfill on those promises. So for leaders and parents, this means being mindful. Don't let your passion lead you into promises that drain you later. Make sure that you are actually looking at your calendar and considering, like, not just the time that you have available, but the energy that goes with that. All right, let's talk about the sun in gate 29 first. This is the gate of commitment. It's all about perseverance, right? You're either all in or you're not in at all. Once I had a mentor say to me, Jeremy, you're one of the smartest people I know. You might have a 160 IQ, but you want to take all the things you're doing, you're committing yourself to, and divide your IQ by that, because that is what you're actually giving to each one of those things. It's a concentration versus dilution game. So right now you might have this feeling to go all in, to say yes to a lot of things. But the truth is, if you can't say yes knowing full well that you can invest the time, the energy, the money, and ultimately the full attention to make sure that thing is a positive outcome, then just say not for now, right? Or not at all, or maybe never. But if you can't give everything to it and leave nothing, then it's definitely not a commitment you want to put yourself into. But the things that you are 100% committed to, the outcomes, the goals that you've set, maybe it was you set 6 months ago or many years ago in your life, like, you can't stop those. It's diluting yourself by all these other little side commitments that are slowing you down. If you concentrate your efforts like a laser beam and you put all of your intention into finding solutions and resources, finding more energy to put into your time, most of success is about seeking solutions and resources, seeking solutions to our problems. When we spend 99% of our time fixed on one outcome, there's a much greater chance we'll achieve it. So keep that in mind this week. There's going to be a lot of energy just ultimately asking us, what are we fully willing to devote ourselves to? And the earth in gate 30, this intensifies desire. It is the gate of desire. It's clinging fire. But there's 3 types of desire, right? The desires of the flesh, the desires of our mind and our emotions. What does the mind want? The mind wants comfort. If you want to find a good example of mental discipline, I love Jerry Seinfeld talks about night guy, right? We wake up, we're motivated, we eat healthy, we take our supplements, we honor our bodies, discipline our minds, nurture our emotions, we go out, we serve our society, we expand our prosperity, we shine our souls in the world. And when we're a little more tired, or Joe Polish says, halt, hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, we don't always make the best decisions. So back to Jerry Seinfeld, he's talking about in the morning being like, man, we did so good yesterday, and then last night, the trip to the gas station, screw you, night guy, right? So remember that you have desires of the body, right? That's the desire the body wants to just feel and relax, allow our nervous system to find a setting of peace through our senses: sight, sound, touch, taste, smell. That's why so many people sit up at night stimulating their senses visually, audibly, and they're eating something, right? Maybe it even smells good. So my point is, just always remember what the soul really wants is growth. And oftentimes you have to decide between what the mind wants, which is comfort, or what the soul wants, growth. And you get to choose growth. And you know how you do that? How do you want to get better? Tap into your desire. And there's something that comes from desire. Yeah, there's a little bit of anger. Sometimes there's rage. That's why it's fire. It's called the fire of desire. And the mind can play tricks on you, right? Ultimately, it feels toxic. It doesn't feel empowering when we focus just on what we want and we focus on what we don't want instead. We ultimately want to make sure that we're practicing what we do want. A lot of people don't know what they want because we need aversion to find it. When do you know what you want? Well, when what you don't want shows up. That's typically when you find out exactly what you do want. So just know that over this next few days, as the sun and the moon step into this fire of commitment, ultimately we're also moving into a full moon in Aquarius. And this is all about group dynamics, collective vision. It's very future-oriented energy, but it's an opportunity for breakthroughs. It's an opportunity for you to put your individual passions and needs not on hold, but find a way to blend them to support the community needs. And ultimately, some high ROI habits you can install this week are really like I said, just getting really clear on which commitments fuel me versus which commitments deplete me. Do some pausing this week, right? Like, before you say yes to a commitment, just take a few deep breaths and ask yourself, does this support my highest goals? Does this support my highest priorities, my highest personality, my highest identity? And then anchor some shared principles, right? Like, not just with you, with your teams, with your family, with your communities. This is what we're committing to together because this is what supports our highest goals, our highest priorities right now. That's the biggest thing you can do this week to leverage this energy. Ultimately, the best ways to take advantage of this is say yes to 6 or 7 things right now that will move the needle forward in your life, not 36 things, right? Burnout comes from just saying yes to too many things that don't move the needle. So ultimately, allow yourself the opportunity this week to just align with your highest values, right? Get really clear on 2 new commitments that would move the needle the most immediately, and what are 2 commitments that if you stop doing those things would open up the most energy. Allow relationships and tasks and habits and repetitive things you're doing to fall away, and ultimately get clear on what's going to bring you the most focused creation, right? How's your time, how's your energy going to show up in a way for you that you're able to utilize it for your highest benefit? All right, so enough talking in circles here. I'm going to give you some prompts to journal on and really anchor this for yourself. Like, where am I saying yes in my life out of FOMO? Where am I saying yes out of, my wife Rayla says, fold, right? Fear of looking dumb. What other people think. Where am I saying yes to something that is draining my energy and taking me away from something that is more important? Like I said, my highest priorities, my highest goals. What desire, right? If harnessed, would fuel sustainable growth in my life. A lot of times we forget that the fire of desire, motivation, we usually want something when we don't have it, and then we start on a path where we're motivated to get it, and when we get it, we lose that fire of want, of deep desire. So what desire, if harnessed, would fuel sustainable results? Maybe that's to be a homeowner. Maybe that's to buy more of your time back. Maybe that's to create a legacy. I don't know what that is, but it's really important that this week you find out what that one desire is, that if you knew you could tap into it would create a sustainable result across the board. I would also say, how do I transform passion into devotion without expectation? How do I pour myself into something and commit to something, even when the feeling and the excitement has wore off that caused me to make that decision and that commitment? So this week, just know that there's a lot of extra energy. You don't want to get caught in the anger and the rage of it. Most people don't realize this, but if you look at the map of consciousness, Hawkins scale, right? Hawkins' map of consciousness helps us understand the levels of those states of being, and desire gives birth to anger. And like I said, anger, there's two types. There's unhealthy and there's healthy anger. Unhealthy anger is just focusing on what we don't want. It's desire attached to fear. And when you focus on what you do want, it doesn't mean you have to obsess and stay in that feeling of lack. What it means is holding that deep motivation to move toward that thing with action, with all of your commitment, with all of your focus, your mental, your emotional, and ultimately your spiritual energy. All right, that wraps up this week's Astral Weather Report. We will see you again here in 6 days to share another round of some of the upgrades that you can take advantage of when you're aware of these cosmic alignments and these things that influence your human behavior. If you want to go and find out what your biggest energy leaks are and ultimately increase your energy capacity immediately, go over to lightarmy.com/energetics. We have programmed an AI thought partner with hundreds of hours of trainings, as well as a base understanding of soul astrology, to help you map out a clear path of where to shore up your energy leaks and how to increase your energy capacity immediately. If you want to know more about how to utilize soul science to make more money, to access more self-love, improve your relationships, and align with higher meaning, a deeper sense of purpose in your life, make sure you follow us on our pages. Jeremy Eugene Wilson is my core Instagram. We post these over here on YouTube, on this channel, and several others. Wherever you're hearing this, wherever you're watching this, thank you for following along, being a part of our mission, our journey. We'll see you again here in 6 days. In the meantime, remember what you are. You are the light. Shine on. Bye for now.